for our friends that aren't here. I baked these yesterday. It's just a yellow cake. And I used butter instead of oil. So this is the drum that I'm putting it on. When they're this thick, I think this is a 1/2 inch thick. It's called a cake drum. It has 2 sides. One is the smooth sides that the cake goes on, and then there's like a backing side. So don't put it on there because that'll get all greasy. Okay, it's a really good idea to have your cake rubber on your turntable to keep that still. I'm gonna show you how to do this 2 different ways. On one of them, I'm gonna use a bread knife. I like this Pampered Chef one. And on the other cake, I'm going to use our cake leveler. So let me sit for this part. Okay. We wanna make sure that our feet, the leveler feet, are flat on the floor, flat on the ground, okay? Then we're gonna measure it. Now the way that you move this up, this one has numbers on it, and I just rest it here on my belly and then push this side in, and it creates slack so that you can move the wire. I'm gonna try a 6 and see how that does. Oh, that's a 5 on that side. Yeah, that looks good.
You're just leveling, you're not cutting the layer in half.
Right, this one's just leveling. So we do that first. I'm not pressing down, I'm just holding it steady. Now, if I was just going fast and went straight through, you could potentially take off the side of your cake. That's why I'm kind of like twisting it at the end. And it's just a sawing motion here. It's getting crumbly. This is my bag for the cake scraps, your snack cake. So anytime I was like at home baking cakes for clients or whatever, that's the part that the family got. It's good for quality assurance. Okay, this one I'm gonna level with the bread knife. I don't wanna take too much off because it's so thin already. So I'm gonna go here. So the idea here is to keep this flat and steady, and all I'm gonna do is move my arm back and forth and turning the cake. Okay, so here goes. I'm trying to keep it really level and steady, like I'm watching the knife as I go, and I'm turning it. So see, I'm keeping the knife right where it is and just turning the cake and working my way to the center. Okay, that should do it. I think I'm all the way through, yeah. Okay. This handy dandy cake lifter. A cake board works well for that too. So that's leveling the cake. Now, if I was going to torte it, I would also be putting the line through the center, and I would do that the same way. I would lower this wire and do exactly the same thing, okay? And that would be torting it. So I know that this one's too thin to torte. This one could use a torte, but I'm not going to anyways. It's fine without it. Okay, the next step, you can get rid of that. You want to glue this down a little bit so it's not wiggling all about. So just a spot of icing. Yeah, that's the right side. Shiny side, yes. Okay, so I'm gonna line it up in the center and hold it steady with my hand as I move the cake lifter out. And then I'm gonna give it a wiggle. And I really want it to be centered, because if not, it's gonna throw me off the whole time. Okay, so yeah, I'm just gonna eyeball it, but it looks like that's about the same all the way around. Next, I'm going to fill it. So I'm gonna add a dam, and this is just plain buttercream. I'm using white because the outside of my cake's gonna be white, and you could see that difference. Okay, so just inside the edge, I guess about a 1/4 inch in, and it's just the coupler here. You could use a round tip, that's fine too, but I wanted a nice thick dam on there. I got this ready pack. They sell these at like Shop and Save. And I got this at Make a Cake. And lots of bakeries use these. And they're pretty good. They come in all different flavors.
If you go to the Shop and Save or the Giant Eagle at this time of year, you have to go ask the bakery people.
Oh yeah? Sometimes there's like a shelf right outside.
That's
or-
usually at Christmas
Yeah.
time. It might be out for Easter too. But you know what I mean? If it's not a holiday, if you just ask them, they have them in the back.
Yeah, this is what they use for all their fillings. Okay, now I'm gonna use this angled offset spatula to spread this around. And I wanna make sure that the dam is taller than my filling because you don't want it squishing out on the sides. It's a little bit too much filling, but I'll make it work. It'll be fine. Okay, next job is putting this cake on top of here. So, I need that out of the way. There. This side that I cut is going to be the middle. You need to save a really nice flat bottom for your top, okay? Same idea, I'm gonna line it up and hold it in place as I move the cake lifter out. I'm gonna give it a nice amount of pressure, and this is squishing out air pockets. Okay, that's probably good. Okay, now I'm gonna go around the dam and fill in that section before I start icing the cake. Okay, I don't always have to do that, but I knew that I left enough room to do that. Now, come closer. So ideally we want to use thin icing, but all I have is medium and I'm fine with it. So you want to start with a big glob up top. Maybe even more. Okay. Now I switch to my big spatula. I'm going to start in the center and I'm going to work my way out. So I'm turning the turntable and I'm using a back and forth motion with the spatula, and I'm using the edges mostly. That's what's doing the work. If you just pick it up without sliding it off, every time you take it off, you have to slide it off. Otherwise, you can get your cake stuck in there. I mean, you could like pull the cake off of the cake, your crumbs off. It is so much easier to take it off than to add it. That's why we start with so much icing. So much icing. Okay. That's good. Now, I want a great big scoop of icing on the back of my spatula, and I'll try to do this over here so you can see it better. I'm gonna start and I'm just adding icing. So back and forth motion. I'm gonna clean my spatula in between. There we go. Take that. Okay, so I was just doing that on that side so that you could see it better, but it's really ideal to work on like this section of your cake. No!
2 seconds. You're good.
I have more spatulas. I'll just use a small one now.
I don't know about 2 seconds on this one.
Yeah. Okay.
I used the microwave over there. I'm a little scared.
Is it dirty? Yeah. Okay. So just keep going around. And after I get all this icing on, you do not want to see cake at all. Okay, you don't want to see the shadow of the cake. You don't want to see your cake. It's a lot of icing. Okay, and I'm making sure that my spatula edge is straight up and down. That's what gets your sides so nice and straight. Okay, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good coverage. I'm gonna add some more to these edges here. So I added it to the top, I added it to the sides. Now I'm gonna smooth the sides and then I'm gonna smooth the top. Then I'm going to switch to this tool to smooth the sides, straight up and down, nice and smooth. Trying not to see the cake. And cleaning it off as you go, because you want to start with a nice clean slate. Okay. I'm happy with that. Yeah, that's fine. It's good enough. If I don't stop myself, I will just keep obsessing and just keep smoothing. That's not healthy either. Okay, good enough. Now, I switch back to this one. This one, we're gonna use, so this, I can see where it's flat and level, so I wanna start there, not lower than there and not above it. I wanna start and just push it in. And that's how we're gonna get our nice clean edges. So we're starting on the outside and pushing in. We want our cakes to taste homemade and look professional. Okay, pretty good. Now I would go back with that big spatula so that you have a big surface to smooth it all. Okay, and then clean off the board. I have a little spot here I'm gonna fill in. But everything else, all of my other imperfections, I could just put a decoration on, I could put a flower on. If I am writing on the cake, I do want to make sure that that section is nice and smooth for the writing. Okay, and then you just have to decide when it's good enough. All right, so go ahead back to your tables and get to this point. And again, my name's Brandy. You can call me over if you need help.